Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first, it's the first CinemaTalk review. Interesting uncharted territory for us just to live discuss a movie like this. I'm very interested. Our subject today is, of course, the Maze Runner. You should know by the title. So we're going to be talking the Maze Runner, new young adult adaptation. Can it become a big franchise like its brethren, Hunger Games or Divergent? We'll have to see. So, yeah, let's get to the discussion. My name's Sean.
My name is Larry.
And my name is Max.
And I am good at intro.
Yes, you are.
Now we play song. Dun, 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 dun.
Da, da, da.
So go to da, da. No, seriously, they'll play the song.
Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Hello, everyone, and once again, this is the kind of review, basically discussion of the Maze Runner.
Imagine the video review, but just a lot longer and a lot easier to spill your
picture
thoughts
our beautiful
out.
face.
And picture our broken headphones.
Yeah, all of our headphones kind of broke.
Mine
those
are
were
fine.
awful. Those were just terrible.
And
Mine are fine.
anyway,
Fine.
guys. So what's on the site? Nothing's on the site. Well, actually, the one thing is, if you want to know why we're doing this, we posted an update back on Saturday as to why, and basically, we're transitioning. We're taking a time off from the site, but we're continuing doing CinemaTalk, and we're going to see if we want to continue making videos.
Because we like CinemaTalk. We like doing CinemaTalk.
Yes, life's happening, so we got to drop everything else for a short amount of time to see if we still want to do it. That's a short version. Go watch. It's like 6 minutes. It's not that bad. Anyway, Let's get to this. Maze Runner, young adult, trying to be the next big franchise, based off a book. It's the thing right now. I'd never heard of it, but I went in with kind of like mediocre expectations. And let me just say right now, we're just going to throw it out right now.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Me too. I actually found myself coming out of it. I'm walking out of the theater and I'm like, did I actually kind of like enjoy this?
Yeah. I enjoyed it. I'm not saying it's anything great. I wouldn't put it in like top 10 of the year by any means.
Not really.
But I would say, yeah, it is.
It has
fine.
its moments. It
Yes,
has its
definitely.
moments.
Should we try and break into categories?
Well, wait, though. Max didn't
what's,
give.
yeah, what's
what
your
about
kind of
Max,
overall take?
It's disposable. Like that. Like I have so very little to say about this movie. Honestly.
Okay. Well,
I know
good thing
that's
we're
not
doing
great.
that.
I know that's not great for the first audio review.
Yeah, good thing we're doing like a 30-minute.
But no, I mean, there's stuff to say. It's
Right.
just so little to really talk about. It's just a bleh movie. Nothing bad.
Really, I'm on the quality. I don't know. I'm on the positive side. That's what I'll put.
Yeah.
I'm definitely on the positive side. You know,
Me too.
I'm not like foaming at the mouth over it, but I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah,
and
for a
that,
movie.
I mean, that could be just low expectations. I totally get that, but at the same time,
For a movie that I really wasn't even planning on seeing in the first place,
yeah, same.
I
here.
was pleasantly surprised.
Oh
with
man,
how well
can we
it turned
talk?
out.
Yeah, we can. 'Cause we got tons of time. Those trailers were really bad.
I've never watched any of the trailers.
I think I saw like
film.
one. They were like, whatever.
They were bad trailers, and they made the movie look really bad. You know,
Did
so
they?
that's the worst kind of trailer. But I went in, and you know, it's much better than the trailers painted it. I think, like the trailers made it seem like a pretty bad movie, but I thought it was solid. Like I said.
Yeah.
So that's quick side note. That's my preview. What major things do we want to talk about? Like,
All right, I want to start off.
All right, fine. You go ahead.
Thank you, Max. That's very kind of you. I want to start off just talking about overall how this film. It's really easy to go into this movie thinking, "Oh no, not another Divergent, not another Hunger Games."
Yeah.
But to be fair, I think this film is quite different than those films.
right? Like that's the thing. The Divergent stuff is a really bad Hunger Games ripoff. Like everyone's in their
pretty
factions,
much.
and it's like that felt so wannabe Hunger Games. This didn't.
And it took us about 5 minutes before Sean went off on Divergent.
Oh yeah, I know. Don't worry.
A new record, ladies and gentlemen.
Excellent. No, but one of the things mainly I want to point out is the all-male dynamic we're dealing with right now.
Well,
the
to
cast,
be fair,
most of the cast. Well, yes,
that's
there is
like
a female.
every movie. Sadly.
Well, okay. Well, think about it this way: The Hunger Games stars a
Nice.
female, has a female lead.
Yep.
So does Divergent.
That's true.
Ender's Game does have is a
Okay,
male lead. but
no. Larry, Ender's Game is not like is Ender's Game was written in like the 80s. It's like a very popular sci-fi book, not young adult novel kind of thing.
But The Giver, I consider young adult.
Okay.
Film.
Yeah, The Giver is the Giver. Well,
Okay,
at least
fine,
what they turned
but
it into.
I still think that's a stretch.
They turned
Sure.
it into a young adult film. We'll put it at that. But I feel that really the all-male dynamic, and not just that, really just the way the plot presents itself, it kind of felt a little bit fresh.
It did.
It felt like we were dealing with a new kind of situation here, one that we couldn't really predict what exactly was going to happen, especially the maze.
This isn't about a revolution. This isn't about the one person standing against society. It's just...
Because half the time...
It's much more story-focused rather than world-focused.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think it did a good job world-building. Like, this setup was intriguing.
Like, we don't even know who the big guys are for pretty much a lot of the movie.
Like, Hunger Games could not make it more obvious. Divergent could not make it more obvious. Here, we're not sure.
And
keeps it kind of
that gives us more time to not only expand on the characters, but also the look and the overall feeling of pretty much the two settings we're given in this film.
That is one of the downsides. I would have to say that's one of my criticisms of the movie.
What, the look?
Yeah. Just because it doesn't vary much.
I would say that.
Like, the cinematography is good. It's fine, all that.
Yeah.
But there's pretty much two settings. You got the Glade, which is just kind of a field. It's nice, but not that too interesting.
Yeah, it's
and then you have the maze, which is all the same because it's designed that way. So
I was going to mention that.
It did feel a bit repetitive because you're either in the maze, which is just you have no idea where they are because it's a maze. You're disoriented. It's just walls and grass and them running, or you're in the Glade, which is just a meadow and some forest stuff.
I think my main problem with the look, although I do appreciate the fact that they spent time really making the maze look like a maze, kind of like a labyrinth sort of ideal.
Definitely.
I think it's just way too gray. I get the idea of what the tone they're trying to go for here with the maze and who it's made by, but like I just feel like they could have spruced a little bit of color. I think the color cream and gray and black are just they're so boring. I mean, couldn't we have given this evil, maze looking sort of thing some kind of primary color? Red, maybe. I mean, red's an evil color, even though it's a cliche color to go for. I still think they could have done something because it's very gray and dull. And I get that's what they were going for, but even with the Glade being all green and blue, you gotta add something. Something's got to be brought to the table. But that was one of my only complaints with the look. I think the cinematography is very well done. So overall,
Max, do you have anything to say?
As far as the look is concerned,
yeah.
It was boring, and it actually kind of made the color green boring. And green isn't a boring color.
Actually, that's fair. There was just too much green almost. Like it was.
Yeah. See,
green is great.
Okay,
but it's I
want to talk about the maze a little bit.
Really quickly? Can I hit on something in terms of the look?
Go for it.
Instead of too gray and stuff, I thought it was too dark.
Sometimes it was. Sometimes
that
it
might
was,
be.
yes.
So something I've noticed on the Approved for All Audiences screen, the green kind of fades out near the corners. And it's because we have old projectors here because we're in Montana. So I think part of it is just the projectors aren't as bright as they used to be. They're kind of dimming out, but they haven't replaced them because that's expensive. So that might be it. But I also feel like I can't. I'll be honest, even if it was the projector, there were a lot of shots I had no idea what was going on.
Well, I think that's for a different reason, but I'll get to that when we talk about some other aspects.
I feel like I've heard a similar complaint made about another movie that came out this year. It was too dark.
Yes, I made that comment about Godzilla, and I'm sticking to it.
Godzilla maybe, but I think Godzilla... Anyway, this isn't a Godzilla review.
Right.
So Max, what were you going to say about the maze? Because I just thought it was too dark.
I wish they had actually treated it like a maze. Like, okay,
oh yeah,
here's the
fair.
thing. Here's the thing.
Fair,
so
yeah.
I don't want to spoil. Let's try and not spoil the ending. I'm going to talk about the ending later.
Of course not.
I won't spoil anything.
Me too. I want to talk about the ending.
But there is a point where there is a creature that the main character and a supporting character must face off against.
Yes.
Oh, that's not a spoiler. They show that in the trailer.
Yeah, and you know what? Wait, I don't know if should I say this?
That's fine.
They defeat the monster. They defeat the monster. You know, it's like it's the G-rated version of killing. But no, they kill this guy. It's pretty bad. Actually.
No, it's dead.
Pretty violent.
Yeah,
dead.
This is a pretty violent movie.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah.
So they get this. So they find this little thing inside this robot spider thing, and it just directs them to go a place. Instead of going through a maze, they basically just get a beacon telling them where to go.
Yeah, see, that's something like. Okay. I get that they had mapped, like the runners, right? They've been mapping out the maze and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But the way, like, they get stuck out there at night to fight this monster, and they run and run and run to get away from it, and it's, they're just going anywhere they can to escape.
It's like Tom Cruise the movie.
Yeah. And then when the morning comes, the gates open. How did they find their way back to the gate? I feel like they would be
that's a good point.
completely disoriented. And
Yeah,
the maze
honestly,
moves.
this movie kind of introduced me to the idea that mazes can be an extremely compelling part of like suspense.
Sure.
Because it's a literal interpretation of the characters not knowing where to go or what to do.
Exactly. It's
yet,
well realized. That's one of my top points. Yeah.
And yet it takes the whole maze thing and just kind of like, oh, it's just in the background.
Yeah.
Now I understand that the concept and the meaning of the maze is very much explored, but it just isn't as like interesting as somebody actually like trying to find their way through a maze.
Yeah, if the characters had...
hold on one quick sec, Sean.
Okay.
Because there's something I think we all need to establish. The book, wait for it.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
I refuse to wait for it.
Yeah, seriously. Oh yeah, I want to make that very clear.
Book does not matter.
I would have made it clear earlier, but seriously, the book does not matter. None of us read the book. None of us are I'm not interested in reading the book, and it doesn't really matter. I don't care if they explain this or if they have that more in the book. It just wasn't in the movie, therefore that.
Yeah,
so anyway,
we're judging this on a cinematic level, not based on how the story is interpreted by the film.
Anyway. So I do think that they could have used the maze a little bit more, like how a maze is supposed to be used.
Sure.
I mean, it's not often you see mazes used in movies.
Yeah.
I think just because it seems so obvious to use as a source of suspense, but at the same time, you can totally have some fun with it.
Yeah, if I could bring in one of my favorite movies, I think that's actually a downside of Inception. Like they bring up the dreams are designed as a maze, and then they're kind of just buildings. So
yeah,
I want to see the movie. I want to see a movie where someone
to actually use the maze concept well. There we go. That's the lesson.
Yeah. I want to see a movie where somebody gets lost in the maze that they used for the Syncope logo.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh man, I love that logo.
Anyway, so that's
Yeah, I have to agree with you, Max. I think the maze. There's so much focus on how they get in, but yet we always they usually always manage to get out. And even if they don't, we never see them like having trouble getting out. And they never explain how they remember their path. If they do the breadcrumbs thing, okay, but they never establish that.
I mean, apparently they're very good, but like one time they go to this new location. It's the first time the veteran runner had ever seen it. Goes with the main character. It's like, whoa, this is a new area. They rush back. The next day, they just go back. And he's like, oh yeah, no, I got this. I know where it is. It's like, geez, man.
Right.
You have either really good memory or plot convenience.
That's gotta be the most incredible muscle memory ever.
Yeah.
Well, I want to go Plot and Drive and see.
Yeah, a little bit. But again, okay, to be fair, the movie would be really bogged down if they didn't know where to go.
That's true, so but I think it should have...
Let's agree at this.
And they've had 3 years.
Yeah, let's agree. Let's agree on this. A movie should have a legitimate Lost in Maze center. Maybe not this one. Maybe this one could be closer to that.
I'll go with that.
But yeah,
I think it works. It works for the most part.
Right.
It's just it's not nothing to gawk over. It's incredible.
It's not about
depth,
getting lost in the maze. They never once get lost in the maze.
It's about getting through the maze. Right.
Right. It's about getting through it, finding a way out.
Yeah.
So it's the focus isn't ideal because a maze, like the whole point is get lost, and like movie that works really well, but. It works well enough. Actually, I'm glad you brought that up. That's a good element to discuss, definitely.
So okay, where do we want to go from here? Do we want to go like characters or what?
Yeah, let's talk about characters for a sec here. Now, I want to touch upon Mr. O'Brien. Dylan O'Brien, he's the star of this film.
What? You mean Logan Lerman?
No, bro, it's Dylan O'Brien.
Yep.
Oh.
That's hilarious.
Wait.
That's really, really...
Say it one more time?
Bro.
Oh, I got those names confused.
Dylan...
Is it the kid from the...
Yeah,
Wait.
it's Dylan O'Brien. Trust me.
Is it?
Yep, it is.
Yes.
Oh my God.
It's funny because
my friends don't let me forget it. Pretty much.
That's not Logan Lerman.
Nope, it's Dylan O'Brien.
Wow, that's
he is a breakout star from the show Teen
out?
Wolf. Yeah,
Jesus,
he was big on
we're
Teen
not
Wolf.
taking this out. That's hilarious.
Come on.
Yeah, that's really, really funny. No, sorry, Max. We all
fine,
have
maybe
those
just because
moments.
his original name is so freaking forgettable.
Okay, well, let's talk about that for a sec.
Yeah.
He is the leading man here, and now I don't personally think he can hold a movie. Just as far as this film shows me, I don't think he has enough real force as a dramatic actor to hold a movie. But as far, because this one didn't give him that much to work with, but honestly, I thought he did okay. And I was actually surprised by this because though a ton of other characters in the film are way better than him, he is the leading man. And I think he actually handled it kind of well.
Yeah,
I think he did good.
This is one of those characters where he's just okay enough that I'm okay with it, because that sounded really stupid. But what I mean is, this is a setting. I can't think of another example, but there's a lot of times where the character is the vessel of the audience. The film opens with him.
Oh, here especially
in this elevator shaft going up, and he has no idea what's going on. We don't know what's going on, really. Like, we don't know where he's come from or anything. So we're with him. We're learning about this society in the Glade with him. We're exploring. We're seeing the maze for the first time with him. We don't see it unless he's seeing it. Like, it's very much focused on him. It's very rarely, in fact, is there even a scene that he's not right there present and it's focused around him. It's a very centered movie on him. So I think it's okay that he's kind of meh, because it kind of lets the audience can kind of fill in for him. Like, our interest in the surroundings matched with his interest, combined with his meh character, it's okay. If that makes sense.
But there are plenty of better characters. There are plenty of better characters in this film. I think
Jojen.
That's not saying much. Can we talk about this fucking villain for a second?
Oh my god!
You mean you're different?
Yeah, you mean you gotta stay
guys.
here?
You gotta stay by the rules.
Like, every single scene, he was pretty much saying, "It's different."
He might as well be saying. He might as well just be beating some guy over the head, saying, "You gotta stay here. Gotta follow rules. Gotta do all these things." It is like one of the most obnoxious villains I've watched all year. It's just
really
every time he shows up, it's just so unremarkable. And I have been completely wrong about the main character since the minute I heard about this movie. I mean, who plays the main character?
Okay.
I thought it was Logan Lerman. I thought... Okay, never mind.
It's not like they look that far apart.
Yeah, seriously.
The villain, though. The villain, I want to say, I think a lot of the time his logic is really screwed up.
Oh, yeah.
Can I also say that the actor who plays him, probably watched a bunch of, 80s movies? And just saw,
honestly.
how... He sounds like he's trying so hard to be like...
Guys, he broke the rules.
He should be how he talks, how it all sounds like he's like some kind of 80s, not villain, but it's 80s
like he's figure. It's like he's the main opponent in Karate Kid.
Yeah, seriously. Except he talks a lot
and
more.
I haven't seen Karate Kid.
Anyway, honestly.
Cobra Kai?
I think we should touch upon one other thing about the cast.
Well, I actually want to go through quite a few. Not quite a few, but a few others. I wanted to bring up Jojen. There's my Game of Thrones reference.
I loved him.
His name's Newt, but I call him Jojen.
He was my favorite character in this whole film.
Love Actually, that kid.
No. Who does he play in the
movie?
Newt.
Is that the little kid?
The British guy.
Oh,
yeah. He was a kid.
I'm sorry. These characters are so forgettable. I just forgot all that.
He was. I liked him. It was pretty clear his role. He was the voice of reason, and I that was good to have.
But I loved him though. I think he was one of the best characters in the whole film.
No. The best character is definitely Min Ho.
Oh, the lead runner,
the Asian guy. Yeah, he was awesome. He was
also really cool too.
He was always like. Yeah,
now, to be fair, they're not given much to work with as far as depth is concerned. So that means they just get to be themselves, essentially. They get to let their personality shine. And that's where characters like those two work.
Yeah, I don't think they work that amazing. I'm not praising.
I enjoyed watching them. I think Newt, the guy who plays Jojen, he says his lines well. He has...
sure. He has good delivery. He's a good actor.
Yeah. And also, the guy who played Albie, he was also a very good actor as well.
Yeah,
I think he did a good job in his everyman leader.
But I guess we can say, even if I'm saying overall solid enough performances, there wasn't a standout.
Yeah, there
wasn't. So that is
a
problem.
There was barely any depth to really any of these characters.
Right, it was nothing to sink your teeth into, but it also didn't shock me with how bland and flat it was either.
I enjoyed watching the characters.
Yeah, same. And also, Chuck was really sympathetic. He was just a likable kid, and
the little chubby kid. Yeah.
I don't remember any of these characters' names outside.
Well, I don't remember the names. I'm cheating. I'm on IMDb right now.
I remember Newt and Thomas. That's it.
Yeah.
And then Teresa.
So Larry, you were about to bring her up.
Yeah, the main female.
Can we talk about the most
blatant
use of the Smurfette principle in a long time?
Yeah, they tried to. Well, okay, I'll give them credit that at least in plot they had it a thing. For some, it was only men. It was only boys brought up, and then boom, at the last one was.
And then do you know what the implication is of she's the last one ever?
Yeah, I totally got that.
And I totally made that joke. You guys know what joke I was going to make.
Yeah.
And the person with me was she was like, yeah, pretty much.
Guys, I'm lost on that joke. Can someone please explain that?
Oh, you mean the only female, and how she's the last person they're sending up and
into their
Larry, repopulation.
God. Oh God!
What? Think about
I'm
it.
sorry, that's what the
It's such a
implication
sleazy
is.
joke to make.
Well, no, that's actually probably realistic in terms of like if they want these runners to keep going
Yeah, and
as a
especially
society.
considering how this civilization is developed, it kind of, I hate to say it, but it kind of is what might happen in like way back when these like villages were just that small. When a woman came in and she was like, basically, okay, never mind. But you get the joke now. You get the joke.
Yeah, what I wanted to put out there about this female lead,
Teresa.
I guess we have to say that, yes, because she is pretty much the only prominent female lead except for one other one.
Well, yeah, she is the only female character. Yeah, except one at the end, but we won't spoil
Yeah, but
that.
we can't talk about that.
But even she's not in it that much.
Yeah, not even that much at all. I think it's so weird because at one hand I'm thinking, oh, thank God they didn't waste time with the romance because they didn't push the romance all that much.
That was
and that would have wasted
They
time.
dropped that. They did not.
Yeah, they dropped it, and thank God they did. That would have made it even more contrived.
And it would
really,
even been worse is if some random minor character is like, "Hey, girl, I'm like."
Well, no, I like how they
girl.
have absolutely no idea what to do with her outside of just treat her as another cute. Like,
Yes.
just
So
treat her
even
as a
if this is Smurfette principle, at least she was treated as just like, hey, this other person came into the glade. Even if the connotation is,
subtle.
if you guys want to keep the human race going, that's why she's here. But even with that connotation, at least she wasn't treated any different. Now that doesn't mean she was that memorable. I don't think she was.
At the same time, though, I think to myself, they didn't really do enough with her. I felt that there could have been a lot more interesting dynamic between the idea that finally there's a female in the group. But really, I think she just kind of is dissolved into everyone else a little bit too much. I'm not saying there should have been a romance. I'm not saying she should have been treated like crap. I'm saying that there should have been a bit more of a dynamic between her and the characters.
I mean, it's just, different ways of thinking on average,
Yeah.
Like, so I feel like this society that is 100% male, you throw in a female, there's going to be some disagreements, probably for the better. That society was kind of messed up. She really could have changed stuff, but
but to be fair, she does a decent job. I think she does fine in her role. But Max, do you have anything else to say about characters?
They were all forgettable.
Okay, I think that's the point. Yeah, I was gonna say Max has been trying to make a point by saying he forgot all these names.
What could it be?
Yeah, it was.
What could it be?
I mean, I get what they were trying to do, but it just, I don't know, it just felt so kind of bland. It was just these characters, there was nothing to these characters.
Well, I would say there was minor things to them. They were enjoyable enough to watch, but I couldn't right now say what defines that character. I couldn't say that. But
the only one that comes close to that is Thomas.
But it also didn't.
And I'm
strike
glad there
me
was
with
more
that.
than one. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and say it. I'm glad that there was more than one black kid.
Yeah,
because seriously, that would have. Because yes,
Minho, we got Asian.
At least we had
got
one.
British, if that counts.
I guess.
Never mind. Never mind.
It's a diverse cast. We got some Brits, we got some blacks, we got some Asians. Yeah, we got enough. Just by the fact that
1-year-old
violence.
Okay, here's all right. I want to bring up a point. That one of my big problems with this movie. May I do that?
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
So one of the things that really compelled me. It's funny with you two. You were actually pretty oh man, you were being cynical about this movie, and I was like, dude, it could be great, and I'm like that with every movie, but especially here, I was really interested in the mystery.
Mm-hmm.
What was going on?
I was
here?
really interested.
I was.
God.
That's what.
Yeah, I know what you're about to say.
And let me tell you, it was a lame payoff.
Yeah, seriously.
But that's the thing. There wasn't. It isn't a full payoff.
It's not at all.
And I think that's okay. Here. This is a good thing. Here's
no. Okay. Can we talk about the ending at near the end? Because that's a whole other can of worms. But the big mystery that surrounds what's going on here really just. It felt generic. It felt really just kind of it was so lame.
I was interested the whole time. I thought it was a good setup. I wanted to know why. I wanted to know what the next progression would be. And I would like to argue that the ending is not supposed to be a full explanation. Now,
I wasn't expecting a full explanation.
Listen, we will talk about. Here's this. We talk about the ending at the end, near the end of the video. If we,
Well, I think it's fine if we keep it spoiler free. We don't have to get into specifics.
No. As in, no, we don't be spoiler. If we have any problems or if we think it's any good in any way, we don't be specific, but we just talk about it. Anyway, okay. What I want to say about the mystery is that one of the reasons why is that it kind of spoiled itself early on.
I give it that. Yeah.
Yeah. See, the thing is, this kid. Thomas, he's got to be, the special chosen one who has these visions when he goes to sleep of what's really going on. And
it's memories.
Yeah, memories, visions, whatever. You get what I mean, though. And like when the big mystery is revealed, it's like, oh, it's like one of those things. Instead of like, instead of keeping me guessing, I kind of saw what was coming.
A bit heavy-handed with it. That's fair.
Yeah. See, and it's really weird because when they do at the end reveal what was going on, it has this setup that could have been great if you didn't already know what it was.
Yeah, I will say that. Like, I will argue that I don't know everything, and I like that. I don't know everything that's going on.
No, I don't ask for everything to be explained.
Right.
I just wish it could have been delivered better.
Right, I don't know everything. However, when you did get the final reveal, my response was, well, yeah. Like, we were hinted at that. We got it. So it was a bit heavy-handed.
Yeah.
However, I think there was just the mystery of what their next step was going to be, what the maze's next step was going to be, kind of in that ambiguous kind of its own entity, the maze kind of way. Yeah. And that's the mystery I was interested in. I was very interested in what the next point, what was it? What were they going to do next? I just think
the whole payoff to the mystery was so lame, and it almost ruined really everything I liked about the movie, because you kind of had this kind of interesting concept going on with the maze and all the characters. It was going all right. And then I got to like what the actual thing was and what all these people were doing. And I'm like, it was pretty much drowning itself in the norm all over the place. Once we learn all this stuff is going on, you just start picking and choosing where all these concepts come from.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, back to where we're talking about, oh, look, this is from Giver. Oh, this is from Divergent. Oh, here's a good little Hunger Games thing. They start coming in again. And I'm just like, why? You're ruining yourself. You're taking away all your creativity and your ambiguity.
Okay, can we just talk about the ending now, please?
Yeah, seriously.
Okay, so what I find the problem with the ending is not just what was the ending. First off, I want to like think of a phrase to describe this. I want to say a phase 2 ending where it's not really an ending. It's just like a sort of weird cliffhanger that's telling you, they're going to be sequels.
Well, yes, that's kind of the problem in the age of sequels. And the franchise age is what we call it.
Yeah, the franchise.
I mean, and I find that acceptable to a point. And I think this was just on the edge. I can see why you'd be upset. Maybe I'm not upset because I know what happens out in book 3 of this series. Because I have a friend who read it and I didn't care, so I kind of know a lot of spoilers. Boulder, that's all I'll say. Oh, if you only knew the Boulder. Anyway, so maybe that's why I'm okay with it, because I do know a bit of what's going. I do know a decent amount of what's going on that will be revealed in the next movie and then maybe the third.
While we're talking about Friends, fun fact: my teacher, one of my professors, actually went down to Albuquerque, New Mexico, to audition for a role in the sequel to this movie.
Oh, nice. I hope she gets that. Sweet.
Yeah, I heard that. They started pre-production on the sequel
in New Mexico. What up?
Nice.
Represent.
That's it. I'm done.
Represent.
Represent. The ending to me, there were so many problems with the ending on so many different levels. For one, as I said, again, all of the creativity was sucked out of the entire movie during that ending.
Okay,
that's why.
I haven't seen this exact scenario. Okay, how about this? We've seen the scenario of people put into like young people put in dangerous situations for a blank reason. This reason I think is unique. Even if it wasn't fully explained, it was kind of glanced over, to be honest.
Yeah,
but
I'll
I got
admit,
the idea.
I guess, okay, I'm not going to say what the ending is, but kind of the ending kind of combines two different concepts we've seen in several sci-fi films.
I guess.
If you guys kind of know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But, first of all, that doesn't make them original. It doesn't make either concept original. That's one. Two, the way, like, just the choice. Like, it's kind of like with the decision they made, there's a blank. And you could have filled the blank with anything. You could have been, because of A, or B, or C. But it all could have been the same kind of reason. Here, they just chose the most cliche idea, and they just ran with it. And it totally ruined all of the brilliant ambiguity. Because, like, I loved how this movie started. This movie started just him in a box. That's it. We're just like the character. We stick with the character. We don't know what the hell's going on, but we're about to find out. Why couldn't we ended like that? Why couldn't we have ended with ambiguity and not knowing what's in the outside world?
It did end okay, we can't talk about the direct ending. I don't know what exactly they're going to do. Do you guys know? Do you guys know what the sequel's going to be about?
I have a very good idea.
I don't, but I'll say this. The reason I didn't like the ending is that it was just a giant exposition dump.
That's true.
Like, okay, I
don't
mean to spoil what happens. I don't, but there's a very minor spoiler, but they come across a video.
Yep.
And this video explains everything. Instead of letting the audience find out for themselves, it is literally a woman telling them everything. It's like, come on. Yes, it's so lame. It's such
So
lazy
lame.
storytelling. Like,
I
seriously,
know.
there are so much, like, and the information she gives could have been, like, delivered in a really, like, kind of creepy way, because, you know, the context of what's going on is actually kind of, like,
Yeah,
kind of,
'cause,
like,
like,
unnerving,
before
but still,
yeah,
how it's delivered is so lame, so lazy,
Before
and
that
so,
video starts,
yeah.
you remember the moment before that video starts and you see everything going around, you're like, oh, holy crap, what's going on? You know, like, you're starting to get that suspense feeling, and then they just ruin it. They just tell you everything, and it's just like, guys...
And it ends on the most stupidly dramatic note ever.
Yeah,
like, the most
that too.
cliched, like, I don't want to say what it is, but it almost made me giggle. Because
the ending overall is crap.
I'm
That's
talking
what
about the end of the video that they see.
Oh, that too.
Oh, I love that ending, actually.
I did not. I thought it was so forced. So forced.
Well,
yeah.
Me too.
It's okay,
I thought the
'cause it
entire
didn't-
ending overall was forced, and I wish it could have been a bit more ambiguous about it, because I felt that would have added a lot more. Because, like, I know they're planning to do a sequel, but I feel it's always good for a movie to start and end on its own merit, to not rely on the fact that there's another
this
movie.
one really didn't. I know we're in the franchise.
It did not
that's
at
not an
all.
excuse.
Okay, so we've talked about the ending, we've splurged about the ending. I want to get on to another part I want to talk about, unless you guys have anything else to say.
No, not really.
It was stupid.
Okay. Yeah, pretty much. I want to talk about the action in the film.
Was there much?
And there wasn't much of it, but I want to bring up an
how
important
violent
point.
this movie is.
Yeah, it got violent.
It's pretty violent.
Like a
it's
fucking
pretty
kid
violent.
gets decapitated, not on screen, but like it's mentioned. It's really weird.
I
Do
think
you remember that part? Do you
Yeah.
remember that part? Like that was
Yeah,
just,
I
like,
remember
really
it.
really kind of out of nowhere.
I think the thing about this action is, while it's suspenseful, I think the problem is there's way too much shaky cam, and as Sean said before, it's too dark. A lot of the times, I feel there are some great shots. There are some great kick-ass moments. One involving a spear, which I think you guys might know. But the problem is the camera shakes around way too much, and there's one particular action scene where like it's in the night, so obviously it's dark. I get that, but there's so many great moments in this movie that the characters really kick some ass, but I can't see what's happening, so I couldn't really revel in it as much as I really wanted to. I get that's the point. I get it's suspenseful. I get that you want to shake it up, but just there's so many shots where it's just a blur, and the characters are completely blocked out, and it just kind of ruined the action. a little bit.
In that same vein, I think there was one moment during a pretty crucial scene that was pretty like it was kind of daunting. It was one of the few moments that actually got me. There was this let's see. There was one of the creatures that we mentioned before. They go after one of these kids, and they have a torch because it's all dark outside. And when the torch goes out and you hear the screaming, you just know what happened.
Yeah.
Like, you know exactly. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
Yeah, like that was like a use of the dark in a good way. Like I think like the use of darkness is very important. I think people have like kind of forgotten about that because people are because movies, not all movies, but a lot of blockbusters these days are all about spectacle, and the use of dark would kind of black out literally the spectacle. So I think in that same vein, it used darkness to its advantage in that one shot. Everything else was just kind of like obligatory. It was like, let's make things dark because it's nighttime.
It kind of felt to the original Hunger Games. I remember the first one. It also had problems with shaky cam.
It did.
And
Oh,
this
God,
film,
this one- oh, Jesus.
I feel this film is very similarly handled.
It's not as
way too
bad.
much.
I don't think it's as bad as the Hunger Games because that's a whole other level.
I'd put it on. I wouldn't put it on exact equal terms, but this one isn't very far off from it. There's so many great moments that are shattered by way too much shaky cam.
Yeah, it's really hard to see. It's really hard to tell where people where everything is in the scene to like visualize. It's all so shaky, you really can't tell what's going on some of the time, which is fine to a point.
Yeah, and also, can I just bring up, why is there shaky cam in scenes where people are talking to one another? There was one scene where literally, like, they're just talking, and the camera's just randomly moving from side to side, up and down.
Well, that's just handheld. That's not shaky.
I know, but, like, why? It's distracting.
You'll be amazed how many movies do that. Just watch for
It's
it.
so distracting.
But at the same time,
Clearly not,
so many
because
movies
like
lately.
70% of movies do it.
Yeah,
I know, but
okay,
it's a
we're
lot
getting
less obvious.
we're getting off track here.
You were gonna say sidetracked.
I was gonna say
I know. It happens. That's pretty much it. I have no more major comments to make about the film.
I say we just kind of give we don't have a thesis.
Okay,
written,
I have one more comment.
Okay, sure.
And it's one part about this story. I hate to keep going back to this story because, again, this is kind of a, I think these will get better as they go on, guys. Don't worry.
Yeah.
This is just kind of scrambled, but There's this one part of the movie that really kind of bothers me. It bothered me now more than it did when I saw it. There's this plot device, like a literal device, that is used to. It's used to give knowledge in a certain way. It's really hard to tiptoe around spoilers sometimes, and it's just like it's basically it's kind of like looking up online what the end of a movie is. Like that's what it is, and it's just so like there's no mystery. Just like, okay, fine, it's this needle. You give it a shot, and your memory comes back because parts of your memory come back, and and the main character does it because he starts out with amnesia because amnesia res is like everywhere, sort of. Yeah, and it's just it kind of like it ruins that whole mystery. It ruins the whole thing. I mean, no, it doesn't ruin the whole thing, but it ruins the mystery. It's like, why don't we just all give ourselves syringes and just remember everything? Because
so
that's the
you could say that it should have had more faith in its mystery.
Yes, that's the best way to put it. More ambiguity, more faith in its mystery, more of an understanding of how to engage audiences with a mystery.
Yeah,
like, seriously, it just felt like the mystery was there because it was in the book. If they had somehow made like the mystery part like not in there at all, I think maybe it would have been a better movie. Instead, it just feels kind of contrived.
Okay,
all right,
well,
we can.
I think that's a good note to end on. I guess my final thing, like in terms of like recommending it, is that honestly, the movies kind of suck right now in terms of your selection. So
Indeed.
If you've seen all the good ones that are left over from summer, like Guardians, if you've seen Guardians,
go see it again.
Yeah, no,
that's what I did.
Seen Guardians twice.
Hey, I've seen it 4 times. You don't have to tell me about rewatching.
So
Guardians.
when you after the 5th time you decide to see Guardians in theaters,
look, what I'm saying
you can go see Maze Runner.
This is worth seeing.
Yes.
Whether it's DVD, Blu-ray, whatever, or if you want to get out of the house, go to the theater, get some popcorn.
I agree.
Then this is decent enough. I'd say it's worth it if you want to go see a new movie. I think it works. That'd be my recommendation.
It works.
Seal
of
it's
approval.
worth seeing eventually, but theaters just if you want an excuse to go to one. So
what's your score?
Oh yes, I guess I'll go first. My score is 6.5. It's pretty good.
All right.
Yeah, 6.5 out of 10.
I'll go. I thoroughly agree with Sean. I did not expect to see this movie at all, but I'm not going to go, on a Friday afternoon, I'm not going to go home and wallow on my laptop all day. I want to go see a movie. So
he says.
So me and my friends went to go see Maze Runner, and I found myself enjoying it. I walked in expecting a Divergent or a Giver, and I walked out seeing a movie that had the potential to be The Hunger Games. It had the potential for that. It's just the problem is that it succumbs to some really bad genre cliches, and not only that, just some really bad cliches in general. There's too much shaky cam. They lack so much ambiguity in it. There's also some other really annoying cliches, and there's not enough to chew on for it to be considered like as good as like Catching Fire, which is currently, in my opinion, the best young adult novel adaptation we've seen thus far. Not counting Harry Potter, because Harry Potter kind of jumped the gun before this whole thing even started. But I feel if you have the money and you actually think this movie looks decent, it is good. It's a good movie. It has redeemable qualities, just not enough to be great. So I'm going to give it a 7. 7 out of 10. I think it's a good movie. It has qualities that are worth buying a ticket.
Max?
Now, as I mentioned before, I was into this movie. I don't think I would have seen it if not for Rule Thirds, but I mean, it was still, I wasn't being cynical about it. Unlike these two guys over here. And yet, I find myself completely and utterly out of things to really talk about with this movie outside of the main problems I had. There was nothing about this movie that stuck out to me as good. It's not horrible, and in fact, it's not even that bad. It's just, it's utterly, completely disposable. I find it just like, I wouldn't recommend that you see it. It's just kind of there. I don't know if, I don't know if, like, if anything is out this week. Nothing. Well, go watch one of your favorite movies at home. You probably have something on there, or Netflix or something.
Of course, come on.
But seriously, The Maze Runner is just kind of, it's just another disposable young adult novel movie. And, I don't want to say that, but that's what it is. And that's why I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10.
What? Really? A 4?
5 is early.
That seems so much
I was gonna
harsher
give it
than
a
what
5,
you're
but
saying.
the more it's like, I was going to give it a 5, but then the more I thought about it, the more I realized I only have comments about the stuff I didn't like, rather than comments about the stuff I liked. And I didn't really like all that much, but nothing that was too bad.
Well, whatever. Okay, there's our review.
Wow, that was a lot harsher than I thought.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's our, not review, it was a discussion.
Yeah,
we'll get better at these, but I enjoyed it. It was enjoyable. And
I think Sean said that's fair for the first time in his life. Whenever we would say something like, he was like, yeah, that's fair. That's probably the first time you've ever said that, Sean.
Boom.
Don't deny it.
Well, no, see, the one time, that was a bad setup for a joke. Bad joke, bad setup. Anyway, that'll do it for us. Thanks for listening to Cinema Talk. And next time we'll have a cool topic, probably Maze Runner related if we can, but if not news related. We'll have a good topic.
We should have a Cinema Talk discussion on young adult novel movies.
Yeah,
man. Doesn't that seem like that's such a good idea?
I feel like we really haven't touched on that yet.
Yeah. Anyway, seriously, we should wrap it up. So, until next time, my name is Sean.
My name is Larry.
And my name is Max.
Or so they say.
Or so they say.
It's all a mystery. Wicked is good. Anyway, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hear us later.
And Wicked is good. Great musical. Go see it.
Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.